changing the game. Crypto frontier, we're claiming our space. Not your keys, not your crypto. Know your place. Unscripted, we're bold, we're free. Melissa, Keda, Lady K, and Opti. Dip a toe, come ride this wave. Digital wealth, we're here to pay.
Crypto nights, we're lighting the spark. As we ignite now, we're setting the mark.
Safety first, we're keeping it tight. Blockchain power, we're shining the light. Unscripted, we're bold, we're free. Melissa, Keda, Lady K, and Opti. Dip a toe, come ride this wave.
Oh, welcome to Digital Ladies Unscripted, the show where we focus primarily on digital assets and cryptocurrencies from a lady's perspective. My name's Melissa, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-hosts, Keda, Lady K, and Opti. How you doing this evening, guys?
Excellent. Started a trend.
Yes, I hear it on the spaces and whenever people are like, excellent, I'm like, laugh every time I hear it.
I know.
It's so
I don't think we've ever gotten all three of us to do it. Like even this morning, I thought we at one point we would, but it went totally fast. But yeah, we always try to all three of us say it at the same time. Don't think we've ever had it on Coffee and Crypto.
Well, it has happened. It's so funny. Like if I get there before Lady K does, and I make it a point to say it because I know Stone is always excited when he hears it.
I love that you do that. That's awesome.
For sure. Absolutely. How are you doing, Miss Melissa?
I'm doing better. Man, these bugs going around. I'm like, are they trying to inoculate us in the air or what? I don't know about you guys, but like the weather's been crazy.
Yeah.
There's been, whether it's snow or rain, but I'll come out and my car's windshield is just like a dusting of whatever on the windshield.
It's green or
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I was seeing that for a minute. I was seeing that and I was like, what is this sludge on my car? I don't like this.
It's a coinky dink. People will say, oh,
we put tinfoil hats on for this show.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, this tonight is all about community vibes and we talk about what we want. And tonight, like right now, that's in my mind. I'm like, you could call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. You can call it a coincidence or whatever. But I got sick as soon as this crazy weather started happening. The fog in the air, and then I'm correlating it with whatever the hell's on my windshield, which has been there for several weeks, and I just find that interesting. And it's not just me. It's like lots of people. It doesn't matter what state you're in, but, particularly here in Michigan where I'm at, there is a ton of people all with the same symptoms that I have. And, I know bugs go around and it's virus season and all that, but I do find it very interesting.
I remember questioning, that same type of sludge that you're seeing on your car. I was like, what is this? Like, what is this? Because if it's on my car, that means it's in my lungs. It means it's in my body, whatever this is. And no one can tell me what it is. Oh, well, that's pollen. Nah, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Rain is not green, and neither is air. So that is really weird. I haven't noticed it, but I park in the garage.
Oh, so that's the reason why you're not seeing it that way.
I park in the garage too, but at work, I park. But here's the thing. I was parked in the garage. And, we had traveled, in the evening. And so there was probably like light mist. It wasn't snowing, or maybe it was just light snow, but the kind that just comes off your car, right? Like it's not like you're having to have your windshield wipers on, whatever. I got in the car this morning. It was in the garage. My entire windshield was covered with this whatever. That ain't normal.
That means it's coming in. That means it's coming in through the air ducts. That means it's coming in through everything. And when I'm seeing these planes go above head and I'm seeing things being, coming out of the end of it, and there's no fields out here, because so this is not crop dusting unless they're crop dusting us. That's where I have the problem. I'm like, so
at least
y'all are
tell
just
us
putting
the
it in the
truth.
air like we supposed to just be like, okay, this is fine, and you don't know what it is. I have no idea. I didn't sign up for that.
Right.
I didn't sign up for somebody spraying stuff over top of my head that no one can get away from, because if you breathe air, you got to breathe that.
Gotta breathe it. You gotta breathe it. But yeah, but I am feeling better, a little bit better. But boy, it's been where, can't breathe out of my nose. Like it's terrible.
I am going to add to this. Did you hear that they're actually going back in the old Disney movies and drawing lines in the sky so that people think that it's normal? Yeah. That's my only addition to this conversation.
Did you know that they actually changed like the cloud definitions to add one that is a straight line?
What? No,
Yeah,
I did not.
to make it normal.
Do you see the look on my face right now?
Well, what happened was.
See, what had happened was, that's about a bunch of nonsense. And I'm sorry, I'm calling BS. I'm sorry. That's about a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't even make sense. So what did they name it now? A straight line?
Actually,
they name it a cumulus.
They added like 7 different ones, and they're cloud types. But the
Well, now you're just
one that
coming
was
up with things these days.
Mhm.
No. So you mean to tell me we're just supposed to just take that and it's okay?
Just take it, Keda.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Harvard talks about how they, spray things into the sky, that doesn't mean anything.
No, don't give that attention, you guys. There's so much stuff going on in the world, That's a distraction.
None of that.
Man.
Well, at the same time, like what's really interesting is when I first met James, like, I wanted to see how much he knew and how much we agreed on. And when I mentioned chemtrails, he's like, "You mean cloud seeding?" And I was like, he's like, "Yeah, they've been documenting that since the 40s or something like that." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So when I look up, and this is what they do with everything, including crypto, digital assets versus crypto and whatever else. It's the language that they manipulate to make you think, they're like, "Oh, that's not the thing because it's this other word that we're not going to, tell you." But it's in all the documentation, all the research. Cloud seeding is there. It's, it's a well-known thing. You can look it up. But if you say what the colloquial term is, the term that the regular people use, then you won't find anything, and then you're a conspiracy theorist. So, it's very interesting. The more you learn about just language in general, how they've enslaved us in our language, systems, it's all very fascinating.
And I agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, I remember, kind of almost going on a campaign about the fact that you really need to be thinking about the verbiage that you're using when you're talking about digital assets and cryptocurrencies, right? Because cryptocurrencies will never be regulated, but digital assets will, right? Because that's what they're regulating on, is digital assets. It's not cryptocurrency.
Well, and I had heard that, so when I started learning about the straw man and all of that stuff, and then, crypto is like money for dead people, right? Because the whole idea of like being lost at sea with maritime law. And so digital assets became, but then you also have like understand instead of comprehend. And that's why you'll hear a lot of people say understand or overstand to sort of change their verbiage around things to be more empowering. And it's, it's so interesting because we're going to talk tonight about like a bunch of things like banks, and like, Melissa, we always talk about, old things like watch the water and, liquidity and
watch that ripple.
And it's so interesting because like you think of the banks of a river and, it's all this language around maritime law. Right. So yeah, anyways, yeah. So I love these conversations, guys.
A lot of our sayings come from the ocean, though. Like I can name quite a few. And I think that's just because selling was so prevalent, like they sell longer than we've had cars, you know what I mean? So a lot of those terms come from, that type of lifestyle.
Like what? Which one? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, 3 sheets to the wind. Like, you know what I mean? Like all around, and like slang and words that we use and things of that nature.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the 42 people that are watching this stream right now. Welcome to Digital Ladies Unscripted. You might be watching on YouTube or X or Facebook or our favorite IMUTV.tv. And guys, I got some really good news. I had a little chat with Niall, one of the founders of IMUTV, and he let me know that we got people watching us on IMUTV, and I think it's over 40 countries now, up to maybe 48 countries that are tuning in on the big screen to the Digital Ladies Unscripted. So congratulations. It's super exciting. We look forward to having even more watching. So guys, if you're watching on IMUTV, we love you. We thank you. We hope you come back every week. We're here every Monday night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, so and if you are watching on X or YouTube or any of those, please be sure you're subscribed to the channel and like and share and share this out to everybody. So one of the things I wanted to start out with tonight, we got Jay in Japan and Hillary and Queen of the
Nile, yes.
And Sing for Jesus and Gone Rogue. And of course, we have Jay, and of course, we always have our Silver Days. So want to shout those guys out. But the vibe of the community right now, the digital asset space, and, you know, a lot of times we talk primarily around the XRP ledger on this show. Kind of wanted to talk about the vibes. It's been a little crazy the past few weeks. I mean, not to mention there's so much stuff going on in the world, but it seems just to me like people are kind of getting nasty with their viewpoints and stuff. And it's like, what's happening here? I personally don't engage in that sort of stuff, but kind of wanted to get your feel for what you think's going on right now.
Frustration?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely
fatigue. I mean, investor fatigue for sure. You know, I mean, I think we see that a lot on red days. There's like a lot of fighting on green days. People are like happy, you know, but I've really like noticed that the sentiment and the things that I'm seeing lately are like all indicators of a bear market, and things that happened back when it was down before. It's quite crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm seeing like bickering, or what do I want to say, bickering, just downright slandering each other's projects, primarily surrounding wallets right now. And I guess my public statement on this whole thing when it comes to this, because I just want to plead to the community at large. There are folks that are dipping their toes into cryptocurrency, digital asset space. They're confused on the wallets to use and that sort of thing. And so when they come in and they see this type of slandering each other, it's very confusing and people tend to back off. And so I wonder, you know, I just think if you've built something, tell us what you built. Tell us why it's good. Give us all the information we need. Present yourself publicly. Show your face, you know, on a plethora of different shows that you could possibly do. Be as doxed as possible and trustworthy as possible, right? And and if it's a good product, people will go and use it. But when you come out the gate and you start slandering others that have been in the space for a long time, that are trusted amongst the community, for whatever reason, if you don't like fees, find a wallet that doesn't charge you fees, or create your own wallet, right? You know, I mean, there's all these types of things. And so, you know, I would just say, you know, to come out the gate being negative and having arguments doesn't really do the community a service in my viewpoint. If there are particular concerns, of course you do want to alert the public if you found something nefarious, or there's Better Business Bureau issues and that sort of thing. That's a different story. But slanderous allegations and name calling, I don't like to see that coming in my feed, and I tend to mute those types of accounts that do that. And the reason I bring this up is because on X, I just posted a simple little question about a new product that came out that I had never heard of, but I had all of a sudden seen this all over the place and all this controversy surrounding it, and I'm like, don't know who these people are, and I just asked the question, and then boy, did I get an earful from a lot of different people. So I took down my question because, again, I don't want to engage in that sort of thing. I think
it's a little bit different than that, though, Melissa. I think it's more because of your reach. I think it's because of the fact that you are known by so many people because of this show, because of Dipito. And what happens is that if you question it, they're definitely going to see a lot of eyes on them just because of your reach. And I don't mean that to say that you shouldn't.
Right.
You shouldn't say something.
No, but you're exactly right, Keda.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But I do believe that has a lot to do with it. And if they're looking at it from, well, if she's criticizing, that means that other people are going to criticize. And so then they start to kind of throw that, okay, well, what do you mean by that? And what's that about? And it very honestly could just be just a regular question. You know what I mean? Just, I want to understand. It's not even I'm criticizing. I just want to understand it.
I just said, who are they? I've never heard of these people before. Who do we know who they are and what, where they came from? And then it came, Can
I add? No, you're good. I want to make the same plea, right? And try to get people to understand that just because you don't like something and people that don't like it too, doesn't mean everyone isn't going to like it, right?
Exactly.
So it might bother you to where you created a different product. That's cool. And you want to market it to people who feel the same way. That's cool. And you might think that, well, if I want to market it in the same way, then I just need to bash and say this is better because of this. But what's going to happen though is you're going to lose people that you could have gained
100%
simply because of that sort of tactic. Like Melissa,
like me, I'm out.
Going, yeah, I'm out. I can't even ask a question here.
Yeah.
And you could have gained so many more people just saying, this is my product and here's how it's different. Exactly how Melissa had said. So for your own self-interest,
it might behoove you.
Well,
might behoove you.
We often talk about this on the show. These are businesses. Be professional. What businesses do you see go and attack each other where they're calling, and I don't even want to say what they were calling the other people, but not very nice things. Okay. And it's not the right move, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. People can do whatever they want. But if you are trying to gain users of your product and get eyes on it, or people wanting to beta test something, you might not want to do that.
I just remember the guy we met in Florida.
Which one?
I know. I was like, which one?
Who paid $1,200 a month to custody his crypto?
Yes.
Oh, yes, the one from
Anchorage,
Melbourne, Australia.
Anchorage Capital is
absolutely insane to me. I mean,
never do it.
I was like, oh my God, there's so many more cost-effective ways, right? But he looked at me and he said, it's insured and I feel good. And I'm like, well, then that works for you.
How can you be mad at him?
This is what one size does not fit all. Some
100%.
people care about security more than cost. You know what I mean? And some people care about cost more than security. And some people don't even care about any of that. They just want faster access to the decks, or, you know what I mean? Just everybody is different. Their goals are different. What they do is different. So like, that's where like, I don't think you should have this mindset because I don't like it. I'm going to put it out there and everyone's going to agree with me. And if you don't, then, you know, you're someone else, you know, you're an enemy.
Right. But, you know, but I think that that's that mob mentality. You know what I mean? And when you have a certain person that is very loud, because sometimes just the loudest person isn't always right. Sometimes they're just loud and wrong. You know what I mean? And so what happens is if somebody's loud and they're like, this is what it is, and then everybody buys into that, and then they're running along with that, that's when you start that mob mentality. And that's when, regardless of whether or not the person is right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever they're saying is a problem for that mob mentality because they have one school of thought. You know what I mean? So for me, I've seen it. I've seen it in action. I know Melissa was there when we saw that. and it caused, that legit was the reason how I ended up with my own Discord. Like mob mentality. You know what I mean? Regardless of whether or not the person was right or wrong, what they said was a problem. They all ganged up, and then the next thing you know, that person's gone, and now it's like, okay, how'd that work itself out? So I do see that happening, and unfortunately, that's when you start looking at people like, okay, y'all are looking a little bit like sheep now because y'all are just following without doing any research, without taking a look to see what things are happening, how they're happening, why they're happening, and who are the people that are associated with it. So I just, you know, there's just so much to it.
Let's address Hillary's comment, which I am like, you nailed it, Hillary. And also some of these attacks might be paid for, which I speculate often in this space and just in the world in general, whether it's politics or, you know, different companies and whatnot. I do believe there are people out there that are paid, that sole purpose is to stir division. And so then you have to ask the question, why? Why would they want to deter people from coming in the space? Okay. In getting into these assets, the prices for a lot of these gems that we all know and love are very low right now, low entry points. There's a lot of things happening, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But you asked the question, who stands to benefit from deterring new people from coming into space? If there's so much chaos and bickering from the folks that the small 1% to 3% of the world's population that are like us and even know, and you know, the whole premise of this show is to get people involved and inspire them to start asking more questions. And here we're trying to get them to come in, and then they go in and they're like, oh my gosh, nobody got time for this, you know. And
it's so very human though.
It is so very human, and that's why these tactics work so well, because we're all busy, and you know, we want a champion, we want a hero of some sort, and there always has to be a villain if there's a hero, right? And you have limited amount of time, and so you come in and you identify with something, and then you lop on before you actually look into the facts whatsoever. And I'm not saying that I've never done that before. You know, it's a human nature to say, but I just try to remove myself and say, what is the real objective here? What do we really think is going on? And, you know, I think it's very possible. And when you start slandering people that are, you know, pretty upstanding members of the community across the board, it's like, what's really happening here? So remember the welcome wagon? I don't know about that one. What's that one, Amy? You'll have to expand on that. Sylviescape says there's more tension in parts of the XR community, right? It's obvious. Market moves amplifies emotions and highlights the gap between fundamentals and price focus. Yes, better not to engage. 100%, Sylvie. 100%. Or if they are exposed to another project or aligned with a competing narrative, their tone can naturally become very negative, not necessarily paid, but biased.
That's very true.
Yeah, very true.
not just of project leaders, but of the community around it too.
Yeah, they stand
And
aloof.
that's that mob mentality that I was talking about, because it takes one. It takes one to just be convincing enough that whatever your thought process was, okay, well, let me just sway it over this way. And now you've got a whole group of people that's after, so that's, yeah.
Well,
And when
there's
it's interesting,
oh, sorry, keep going.
Well, also too, like we need developers and we need people, to develop the network and move it forward, right?
Mhm.
Like whether or not you like what somebody does, going around and attacking people who have actually contributed
Right.
so much. I mean, all you're going to do is leave a bad taste in their mouth. All you're going to do is harm the network at large. And that's not saying that you don't have to come out with a product or a competing product. Nobody said that.
Mhm.
You don't need to attack anybody to do it.
No, and I agree with that. I think that that's a very fair comment. We've had so many situations where we're starting to see more and more of just the infighting and issues and problems there. And it's hard because, from our vantage point, we tend to always have, so many people coming out of the woodwork. You know what I mean? We have so many new projects that are coming in. And sometimes I'm looking at these people and the projects and I'm like, well, where'd you come from?
Right.
How did you come on, come to the XRPL? How long have you been here? And especially if they come from another blockchain. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying anything negative about anybody coming from, another blockchain, because XRPL is normally very, very inclusive because it can handle almost any other blockchain, any other asset that's on the ledger. But what happens is that they come in so hard and fast. And it's like when they come in that hard and fast, sometimes I'm looking at them like, I don't know if I feel so good about this. This don't feel right. And 9 times, I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10, but I'll say 5 times out of 10, they're here to extract as opposed to inject.
well, it's amazing to even learn over the years. Just it happened the other day. I had no idea about something that had happened like 3 years ago in the community, and when, the longer you're here and the more people you see come and go and the more language that they repeat, where you expect you patterns become a thing.
Yeah.
And like you were just sort of referring to, like because especially us, like we really want to support everybody. And we, one of the things that I really admire about this community is like somebody can just come in brand new and we treat them the same way as we did 2-3 years ago oh, we're so happy you're here. Welcome to the community. I mean, this doesn't really happen in life. Typically you have sort of like a caddy, sort of not caddy, but like a tight-knit group that, establishes its parameters or whatever. And, newbies sort of, they'll group, but we're so open to newbies that I think that, once you've been burned by so many people in terms of like, they're committed, but they don't understand that like what a commitment is. They don't understand what 6 months really is. They don't understand what a year is. They don't understand what 2 years is. They don't understand what 4 years is. They don't understand what 6 years of the same BS is. And it's exhausting. And you get to a point where, like, I mean, clearly this conversation is demonstrating you get to a point where you just don't care for the BS anymore. And, I find it so interesting that, a group of ladies are having this conversation, because you typically would think it's more the ladies that are the catty, whatever, groupie, whatever. And it's to me, it's been very interesting to see the men do this, because James really taught me how to just ignore it, right? Like in terms of the drama in general, because just like everything else, I mean, there's always room. There's negativity sits in front of you, you just have to look at it and there it is. I mean, the world is full of it, and I think a lot, honestly, I think a lot of what we see is like people are exhausted from life.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's so much going on, and like, we're not going to talk about it here, but,
Right.
it's exhausting and it's depressing. And we're all trying to find, hope in the darkness. And a lot of us are truthers, especially on the XRPL. I find that one of the most fascinating things about the people I've met over the past 4 years that are related, that are interested in the XRP ledger, Stellar, XDC, and HBAR, a few of the other ones. It's quite shocking how many of us have sort of been following the line of truth for, almost a decade now. And, you get to a point where you've just had so many people call you crazy. And then, the Epstein files drop and you're like, so?
And even in that, Auntie, and I agree with you, like to an extent. But I'm going to be honest, even with the Epstein files, I truthfully believe that they are only showing us what they want us to see.
Of course, but I mean, I don't want to get really into that. I just brought it up as a sort of like, it becomes exhausting, right? This whole world, and when you like see how the whole system is built against you, how everything that you believed in is a lie. You're just desperate for good people. You're desperate for honest people. You're desperate for people who want to help the little man and are not trying to steal their money, just because you think that you deserve, more than me, that you take my $5 or my $10 or my $20. You do that to 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 people. I've seen some people's wallets. I've followed I've tracked the people who've stolen, like the people I know who've had their wallets, hacked or whatever. And then I've followed those wallets to like million XRP wallets, and it's very deflating. So I think a lot of the times what we're seeing is people have nowhere to go with those emotions. So then they only go to the people that they see. So it might not necessarily be that person they're angry at, but it's just it's a vibe that's sort of like being, pushed out into the world, and people sort of feel lost. And I hope that that's one of the reasons why I love Monday nights with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys, and I love these conversations because, we try to bring hope to the world, the darker world. And we're trying to surround ourselves with builders who are for the good of the people. We are collectively trying, in my opinion, trying to make door number 3. And that's what I hold on to. And, I do like the troll from time to time. I like the shake up from time to time. But, I tend to just avoid all drama. And if there is drama, I just leave. I will not partake, and I will just sit over here until the drama's passed, because like you guys said, it reflects bad on you when you participate in it,
2 things. Well, maybe 3 things. 2 things. Number 1, if you allow drama to take you off of your path, that's not a good thing, right? And so these bickering and dramas and all that takes an incredible amount of energy. And that is part of the shakeup as well, because when you're laser focused on your mission, whether that is to educate yourself in the digital asset space, if you're just dipping your toe and you're trying to learn what all this stuff is, the moment you get squirreled off into these types of fighting amongst whatever, or dramas and this camp versus that camp and all of that, you are using your valuable time that and we have so few time. Or if you're building something, the same thing. It just shakes you and takes your attention away from your focus, which is going to slow you down in your progress. So I highly recommend, just try to not allow yourself to get involved. The other thing is, as far as truthers being part of like XRP and all these other ones, the reason I think is because we're diggers, and all of these things I think are the chosen ones. Ryan just said I say all these things a lot. I just said it again, and I'm like, oh gosh, he's going to be ringing in my ears now. He goes, man, you've been saying all these things a lot, and I'm like, oh boy.
Oh, everybody has. Stone has. Somebody else has. I don't think it's you. I think it's just a collection of hearing it a lot.
He said, Ryan said, there must be other people saying it because you've been saying. He said you've said that 3 times in our conversation. I'm like, oh geez, I don't like that. But all of the things that we do to research something, right? In all of the projects that what we consider the chosen ones, you have to do a little bit of digging. And those in the know, like back in the day, those in the know, the elites and whatnot, this is how they know what's going to happen in the future. They just didn't bank on the fact that there are some of us diggers that we're going to stumble upon these connections, these dot connections that we're all putting together, and actually digging and doing the research to go, holy smokes, I think I found the future of finance here. You know,
crypto is so complex that you have to research it to understand it. So yes, the people that are willing to be open-minded, say, what is this? Look into it and research it, are the people that have realized what it is and have been very supportive of it. Those people tend to do the same thing in all aspects. And that's why I do feel like they're truthers that end up finding crypto. I think that's why we all kind of have the same sort of like-minded like that.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's like also the exhaustion thing, right? Like you have to learn the true thing that we all did before it was mainstream, to do the sleuthing, and then to learn about the, crypto in general, the history, what the plan is, how can I play a role in this? How difficult, how easy is it for me to purchase, to invest, what projects? I mean, it takes so much time and energy that you have to already be somebody who's on the search, who's looking for something, who's called into, and for me, it's, there's gotta be a better way, this is ridiculous, and I don't know if you guys got the chance to watch Money Disrupted. I got to watch an hour this weekend, still have to watch the extra hour. But what's his name, who wrote the book Creature from Jekyll Island? He's interviewed, and man, he looks good for like 92. Let me tell you, I'm like, man, I like to look like him when I'm 92. But shout out to Maya and Chris. I hope they can come on your Dip a Toe show again soon and talk about it.
Love it.
And they've really, with AI and everything, they've done an amazing job at just like putting together the dots that we all started doing. Like I didn't know anything. I didn't know the Titanic had anything to do with the Fed until I started sleuthing in 2020. And then, everything started intertwining, like just like the Fed coming in and the, reduction of gold and silver, and like, how it used to be 1 to 18th. And then it became 1 to, like, I think it's 86 or 92 now, or it might have changed a little bit because the increase in the value of silver over the past 6 months. But like, as you start to realize all of these, to the average person, you'd never think the Titanic had anything to do with where we're at today. And, the US debt being 300 trillion, right? I'm pretty sure you're at right now, something insane like that. 33 trillion?
30 something trillion.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, but that is a lot different. So I apologize for adding the extra zero. But yeah, you'd never think that had, such an enormous role in where we're at today. But then it is these like fragments. And so I think when it comes to digital assets, like it's so interesting, especially this far down, like, we've all been involved for quite some time now. And to start really seeing how each aspect of the financial system has to be managed by a different aspect, it's not just all one or nothing. There's so many different aspects to finance, to how it gets moved, where people invest their money, and things like that, that it requires those of us who were looking for the truth in the beginning to even be willing to put the effort and time in, because ultimately their goal has been do your 9 to 5, be distracted with your family. You got no time to actually look into any of these things. And I think ultimately most of the distraction has been the distraction from the shift in the financial institutions, the shift in the
100%.
finances. Watch the water, right, Melissa? That's what we
Watch
always
the
talk about.
water. What is a bridge? All the things, right? And you know what? You're right. Like, we're just average people. We're just normal people. We're that started asking questions, and so we've had to do the hard work of going backwards and studying the history of the money. What is money? And asking all these questions to
Because
even
God
get
forbid
to
they
the
teach it in school, right?
right. So I mean, yeah. So we've been here for a while, and you do get a bit fatigued. But like Amanda said, it doesn't even faze me much anymore. I really, I'm disappointed when I see the bickering going back and forth and things like that. It makes me sad, and then it makes me question people's motives, because here there's us, Coffee and Crypto with Stone and Lady K, and sometimes Opti, every Monday 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. You got Steak and Bake and Mr. Zam and Keda on Friday nights and Sundays. We're all trying to encourage and grow the space, encourage and educate. You got 68J, all these people having these shows, and then they come in and they have the bickering. And so it's more of disappointing to me, but it doesn't faze me. It doesn't shake me, but it could shake people that come in early, or come in and are just learning, and that makes me sad.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have the investor fatigue, the fighting, the scams.
The scams.
That's
Yeah,
been
man.
limited lately.
I was just going to say we only have like 15 minutes left, so maybe we should talk about, one of the great developers in the community that's building stuff to protect us.
Yes.
We'll save maybe we'll save the other for the after space, guys. I did put a link to the after space. It's going to start at 10:10 on X. So if you're watching on IMUTV or you're watching on YouTube, follow us over on X and join us in the after space and join the conversation. But yeah, Lady K, tell us a little bit about what's going on, because we do have one of the greats that is bringing some really good stuff to the table.
Yeah, Chris Dangerfield, right? I just love his last name.
I love it. Yeah, it's so perfect.
That's a great name.
I know. He wrote a book, a digital book on security, right? Like what it is, how to secure yourself, what to do, if you get compromised. And it's different protocols that you can even slowly implement into your daily life. It's like checklists where you're at, what are your risks. And it's really cool because it's on a platform where he can update the information, as needed.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take notes and make little bookmarks and stuff, and you always have access to it. So it's really cool. It's like a digital book on a platform. The platform's just as cool. So people can go on X and click on it and purchase it. You can purchase it for a friend and use the codes there, because you can get it to like $25. But no, Chris has done a lot in the community. I mean, he is with XRPL Commons. He created XRP Bootcamp 1 and 2. He's the author of some amendments, Firewall being one of them. I really want Firewall. I think that will be really good.
I do too.
Yeah, subscriptions.
Hey, sorry, Keda, you have a hot mic, just so you know.
I'm sorry about that.
So yeah, he's definitely contributed a lot. So if you want to protect yourself from people trying to steal your investment, because we are an easy target, take that course.
Absolutely. And I posted the link. To his website, and then I also posted the link to his X account, which also has the promo on there, if it's still available. If not, I'm sure it'll be available again. But yeah, I signed up for the course myself. He also has courses, which I still haven't taken them. I still have to do that. But he has what platform is his other courses on? Udemy, I think, is where I thought him at.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has really good courses on there. They're inexpensive, and I mean, really, you can just go back and listen. And I've been at work listening to it on my phone. This new course that I just purchased, and I really like the way he has it set up because you can let it go automatically to the next chapter. Without having to advance, and they're short little chapters, and then you can go back and find it. You can leave notes for yourself. So if you're studying and something comes up and you want to go back to it, you can put a little note in there so you know where you left off. And so I think it is a really cool design. And again, he's somebody that is trusted in the community, and he has a lot of good information, and he's easy to understand. So
I forgot about that. It's so brilliant that he actually made it into an audiobook. So you can either read it or listen to it.
it's
You
fantastic.
have no excuse at this point not to take this course.
Nope. I've been listening at work, and then you can go backwards, because a lot of times I'm listening to things and I'm working, and then, he'll be saying something and I'll be like, what did he just say? And then I try to go back, and it even shows you your progress, how long you are within the, throughout the course and that. And yeah, well done, Kristin.
182 lessons. It's not a willy-nilly, make sure you use different passwords. He gets into it. And Amy asked the question. Yes, it's a one-time purchase. Anything he updates, you'll get access to. You have lifetime access, and or as long as the platform's still up, I guess I should say. And there was another thing about that. If you ask questions, that will help him. He encourages that because that will help him understand what he needs to add so that he can make sure that this is a book people can comprehend.
Yeah, he wants that feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wants that feedback.
I don't know, Melissa, if you were in the show this morning, Coffee and Crypto, but Joan popped in, was like, maybe I can give X meme to the people who complete the course and stuff. And I was like, man, I wish the token was still available. I wish the token was already available, because I have this dream that when people finish these courses and stuff, they get their dip of tokens.
Chris absolutely said, I saw that message and I can change the platform, and that is highest on my priority. And I love that. Learn to earn, and shout out to Stump for always finding utility for X meme, right?
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's fun for us to be able to do. And yes, the token eventually. I've got all kinds of cool ideas. And you know what, guys? So since this has shifted towards education and stuff, this conversation, I just posted a link to one of our early episodes on Digital Ladies Unscripted, where we explored a whole bunch of low cost or free education regarding cryptocurrency or digital assets. If you want to have access, go ahead and go back and watch that one of the earlier shows that we did. I personally think it's one of our best ones, where we just kind of go through and provide all those resources to you, because there's a lot out there, and when you're new and you're coming in, you don't know what's available, you don't know who to trust, and we tried to gather as many of the most trusted ones as we possibly could in that episode. So so we have a 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. What else, ladies?
I completed the Easy A XRP thing finally, and I was quite shocked at how much I knew. And the one thing, I've been sort of trying to get a hold of them, but they haven't been answering me. But just so you know, that if you do it, there is a point in it where they're going to, they show you the code to put an NFT on the blockchain. Just a friendly reminder, I went back to see if they had warned me. It's the profile that you're using, your profile picture. So just be sure that profile picture isn't already an NFT on the blockchain, or something like that. So, I guess usually people will just put the AI, they'll click one and then just have a random image for them, but I don't do that. And so, yeah, I ended up going back and like redoing it because I was like, oh, I did not realize that this is because they were just like, we're going to put an NFT. And I was like, I don't know what's the NFT, right? Like I had no idea. I thought it was like one of the badges you get or something. But it NFTs your profile picture. But yeah, it was great. I mean, it was especially for newbies, it was fantastic. In fact, I think from now on, I will absolutely tell people, like, just if you want to know the backstory, it's great. You know, if you want to know the little bits, you know, the step below what Chris made for the courses, I think it's a great sort of starting so that, you know, because you don't have to code or anything. It just shows you what the code would look like. So really easy, right? And looking forward to trying to do the Shark Tank this spring. But yeah, I hope that we do the, I keep saying do. I keep laughing in my head. That we collectively do the Chris Dangerfield courses, the two of them, because I know have you done the second one, Lady K?
So I thought it would be fun to go through it with you guys again, the first one. And so I was like, well, I shouldn't start the second one until afterwards, because if we go through the first one together, we'll probably want to go through the second one together. So I've used that as an excuse not to do it, although I have been very busy. But I do hope we get to go through the first one together.
We definitely.
So I have a question, actually. What do you guys, because I mean, obviously we can't go through the course here. I mean, that would have been the ideal if we could, you know, walk through the course collectively, you know, and record it. What if we should talk to Chris about this. What if we did like a module and then came to the conversation here, recorded, you know, our dialogue about it, something like that, where we can at least sort of share with the audience sort of what we're working on, not have too much to do in a week anyways, I'm just planting a seed because I've been thinking about it a lot, because I do want to do it with you guys, but I know that we're so busy that it's hard for us to, like, you know, sit down and actually do it together. So I was trying to figure out an idea of like how we can share it with the audience without giving them the actual course, you know, encouraging them to go to Chris and do the course. But yeah, I don't know.
I got some ideas, but I won't put them out publicly. But I do have some ideas floating around in my head. And I will just say, I will preface it by saying it will require them to purchase the course. But there may be a way where we can actually even have others join us in doing it.
I like that idea.
So we're all doing it. We all paid for it. But I think that so I've got some ideas, but you know, again, it's going to be a time thing that we'll have to work out like amongst the four of us and see, you know, when we're available to actually do it on a dedicated time. But I think it's fantastic. And in the more people that are talking about the course, the more people are going to want to take the course, right? You know, you can get on Spaces and stuff, and people will say like they'll want to do it, but then they forget, and it just happens that way because, like, as we've been talking about, we're also busy, lifing and all that stuff, and so you're like, what was that one thing I was going to buy, and then you're like, I'm like 10 miles down the road now, and I forgot. So if we're actually recording something and doing it with people, I think it might be effective for all parties involved. So that's my 2 cents. What you think, Keda? You looking all serious over there, taking care of business.
I'm looking all mean and things, and so not trying to look all mean and nasty and all the things. But you know, when you got like kids screaming in the background for no reason whatsoever, they try to take you off of your square. Okay, so
can't hear.
Yeah, so here's the thing. There's so much of this going on right now that is just convoluted. We have so many people that are yelling at each other, mad at each other, pissed off at each other, you know, trying to sway conversations, distract people, all the things. So right now, all I'm really trying to do is find out as much information as I can, give as much truth as I can, and not cuss anybody out in the process. You know what I'm saying? Because
we're doing good if we ain't cussing people out.
You know what I mean? Because you'll be in a space, like we were in a space the other day, and somebody came in so hot, and I was like, "Hey, hold on, we don't do that this way here," and I get called out outside of my name and all kinds of other shenanigans like that, and I really try to be nice.
Yeah,
I try so hard.
we try so hard to be nice, but it is one of those things where like Simon and I say on Dip a Toe, like crypto ain't for sissies. It's not.
That's an understatement.
That's the truth. But if you get part of a community, like Digital Ladies Unscripted, Dip a Toe community, Coffee Crypto with Stone, you start associating with the folks around those communities. You kind of get a feel for people that you can trust, right? You kind of enter in, you listen, you watch people move and that sort of thing, and you'll know it'll be clearer to you. It's when you're navigating around, getting into crypto by a random text that says, I can double your money if you just send me some money, and I'll buy some Bitcoin and I'll send it back to you, and I'll double.
How are you doubling my money and you're asking me for my money? Like, where they do that at?
You know what? Years back, we had a well-known project developers say that on Twitter, and so many people believed it because like he was well-known. And yeah, some people actually sent it and did not get anything back. And this was somebody accessible that you could speak to on Space. And don't send your money to people.
Well, that's bad because listen, we've all seen those videos of people who've been out with their family, and then somebody rolls up on them mad because they lost money in digital assets and cryptocurrencies. And they're just trying to have their breakfast, and somebody's rolling up on them trying to fight because they done lost their money, or they done sent it someplace that they're not supposed to send it to. So, I mean, at the end of the day, right now, this is not the time for people to be out here like cutting the fool and trying to get over on people. Everybody's struggling right now. Like, this is the struggle bus right now. Everybody's on the struggle bus right now.
Can I just say, because we only have 2 minutes left, can I just use this opportunity that like there's a few big names that are either merging or changing their token or whatever, and there's a lot of scammers out there that are trying to leverage that change, and it looks legit. Specifically right now, Casino Coin and Lucky Hash, and there is a scammer account that's trying to convince you. Anyway, so don't buy into any of that nonsense.
No.
Got it.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and we have other ones that are changing over, like Corium is changing to TX, and there's all kinds of things like that. And what'll happen is that people will see that a price on a coin will go down, and just automatically assume that somebody's trying to scam. And it doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means right now, because there's change, people get scared and they pull their money out because they are like, I don't know what this is going to mean for my investment, as opposed to just leaving it raw.
But always remember that the scammers are really smart and they're opportunistic, and they are way further ahead than most people. So be very careful about who you're listening to during these shifts.
Scammers gonna scam. They're always gonna scam.
I'm telling you.
It's what again, it goes back, like there has to be the element of trust, and you should have a community around you of people that you can trust. We really do, to bounce questions off of each other so that you don't go willy-nilly, head first into these types of things. It's very
Digital Ladies.
Bring on, okay. Guys, this has been a fantastic conversation. Of course, we never get to all the things that we want to talk about, but we do encourage everyone to come to the after space, which is going to be even more lively. I can assure you of that. But with that, we love you. We will see you next week, and have a good rest of the evening.
Digital ladies breaking the chain, rising in crypto, we're changing the game. Crypto frontier, we're claiming our space. Not not your keys, not your crypto. Know your place.